So without further ado, let's welcome Akshaya.
Hi, good evening all. Good evening Malaysia, good evening Kuala Lumpur, good evening all the people who believe in books. So my name is Akshaya and I come from India, from the east coast of the country. And I firmly believe in books. Though as a kid I never had books because where I come from, where I went to school, we didn't have a library, we didn't have even bookshop. Even today, most of the towns in India do not have a bookshop, and I believe this is not only in India. When I travel around Asia, also I see that many small towns do not have bookshops. And why we do not have bookshops? Because if you invest the same amount of money into any other business, suppose selling chicken, you make more money, and that's true. Most of us believe that money is very important, profit is more important. But for me, selling books is not about making a profit. It is about believing in human emotions. I believe that these human emotions are important. These things are us. That is what makes us human beings. So we've been doing book selling for last 10 years, but in a very different way. And we do not talk about numbers. We have never tried to multiply it into 20 stores, 30 stores or 40 stores. I firmly believe in independently owned, independently run small businesses. For instance, 200 people running one bookshop each in a place like Kuala Lumpur, with each one having its own design, own look, own curation, everything unique. So when you go to that city, for instance Kuala Lumpur, you actually go to these 20 spaces or 200 spaces and feel that these are amazing places, and all the books can be also different because we have so many books to go back to, millions and millions. In India, when we started it in 2014, we were on the road. We didn't have the money. Before starting working Bookfairs, I used to work in a bookshop, and as a bookseller in India, your salaries are so small that you cannot even dream of having a coffee outside. That is how it is. Nobody is going to talk about it because we also feel bad about talking at the bad side of our industry. But that is true. So what we did, along with my partner Shatabdi, who drives and I don't know how to drive, so we took this old ambulance. This was an ambulance before we converted it into a small traveling book fair. It went around my own state, thrice covering around 15,000 kilometers. Then in 2015-16, we actually is it working? Yeah. Okay. We got a bigger one and traveled around India to create a buzz about books. A lot of people said, you're not going to make a profit, what about the business side of it? But then, imagine when we have to promote books, we are up against other products, for which movie stars are doing advertisements, we're spending billions of dollars on advertisements. We cannot just sit here and do nothing about it. That is why we thought, how can we let people understand that books are important and we need spaces for bookshops. It is very difficult to find spaces. That's why initially we got these book trucks and took them around. And then when we traveled, it was very interesting to actually see that people were actually coming and looking at books. Initially, it was only story books. Then in 2018-19, we changed it to poetry books. In 18-19, we only took poetry books around India and traveled 10,000 kilometers. So 2015, 16, 17, 18, we traveled 20,000 kilometers around India, and in 14, 15, 16, we traveled 15,000 kilometers inside my own state. All this to promote books. Because if we do not promote this, we are up against products like Coca-Cola, for which we spend billions. And after that, what we did, we talked to people and did poetry sessions on the road. And now after seeing these kind of sessions, many other people started doing poetry reading around the country. It became fashion quickly. And of course, everybody is going to say that, oh, we also thought about it. But I clearly believe after looking at what we were doing, many people started following the trend. Now we have so many people in book trucks in India. Many libraries also have traveling bookshops, and they go around and show people books. But also on the road we wanted to display books so that people would come and ask the question of why books? Why not something else? Why books? After looking at books, many would actually run away. But in smaller towns, surprisingly, a lot of people came to look at it, ask the prices, and even bought books. That means where there is less of a destruction happening through social media and other things, people are still interested in books. People want to read, but there are no bookshops in smaller towns. We have cafes, 20, 30, 40, 50 of them, but no bookshops. That clearly showed that we have lack of spaces with books. Then we turned a small space into a book garden. This was probably the first book garden in my hometown. Now the government has collaborated with other people and have turned libraries into book gardens, or gardens into book gardens. But I am very happy that at least when you take a small step, other people actually follow it. And there is always a demand for these kind of spaces. Now, this is my bookshop today, where people come to click pictures. A lot of people come to click pictures, a lot of young people. Initially, I was very unhappy, but now I have accepted it. I think, there's nothing wrong in someone clicking a picture, but at the same time, this person is also looking at books. Imagine if you have 30, 40, 50 spaces like this, children would actually go to these spaces. Let them take pictures. But they would start going close to books. And if there are interesting places and different ones, they'll go to different spaces every day. Suppose today they come to my bookshop, tomorrow they'll go to Kinney's, the day after yours and hers, So they'll start going to these spaces. What these spaces can do? These spaces can do everything, because books are related to every single thing that is there in the world. Suppose there is a beauty salon. You have books related to beauty and health. There is a clinic. You can actually put books related to all the health problems, even beauty products, and put books there. We just need spaces to show people that these things are important. Now we not only do poetry reading, I also put a lot of plants there, so that a lot of young people look at plants and they want to take plants. They ask me whether they can actually buy plants, which is very interesting, because everybody talks about global warming and all that, but at least few are interested to take these plants and put them on maybe as display to show that we have plants. And also, how to survive as a bookshop is very, very important. When you are in a smaller town, it's not only books which is going to give you money. Small events, publishing, so many other products which can be related to books, and they can actually earn you a bit of money. I'm showing you all this just to start something big actually. I'm not happy with these things. This is what we just started this year. For a long time, what we have done in my country, we have ignored people who work in bookshops. People who get very little as a salary. That is why we do not have good booksellers. Most of the young people do not want to be booksellers because there is no future. They want to be writers, but not a bookseller. So imagine you have only writers, but nobody to display them, nobody to talk about them, like Professor was beautifully talking about the book. Imagine you don't have any of that, you only have people writing books. You need skilled labor for your industry, for my industry. When I went around and I saw nobody doing anything about it, we decided that this year we are going to do something big. Starting with a small $300 prize award for someone working in a bookstore, and $300 in India is big money. You must be thinking it's not as big money, but in India $300 is a lot of money. It's like a month's salary of a bookseller. And how to encourage young people to actually be booksellers, to be a bookseller. This is why the next step is to start a school of bookselling. And now, why do you need a bookselling school? Because nobody knows what to do with books. How to run a bookshop. Suppose Mr. Mathu has data, but you need someone to know what to do with data. There are millions of books, but what to do with them if you don't know how to sell them? So the book selling school is not only about book selling, it is going to teach young people about printing, publishing, promotion, events, everything related to books. Even designing of books, what to do with unsold copies, how to get rid of backlog, if you have stock which is not moving, everything related to books under one roof, and a module where the book selling school is not only a school, it is also a library, it is also a bookstore, it is also a printing press where you can actually do print on demand. It can be everything. So under one roof, you'll have everything that is related to books. The writers, the readers can come together to do promotion of books. The printer can do a digital printing, print on demand quickly and sell it to the customer quickly. And also people who want to take pictures, they can actually take pictures if they want and take a print out of it, or a mug, or any kind of item where they want their name printed. So we can sell that as a product. Everything can make a bit of money, but the focus is to make books available to people, displayed for the public to come and have a look at it. Why I'm also very happy with a small number of people? Because at least we are going to talk and listen carefully. That there is a lack of bookseller in the market. You need more professional, talented people selling books from the bottom till the top. And this book selling school is not only for my space in India, it can be here also. I see so many people coming here and I'm so happy to see that there's a huge crowd and they're buying everything. I saw people buying bookmarks, people buying small refrigerator magnets. So these are all products which are related to books. To sustain a bookstore, we have to actually also start looking at other things which we can sell to make a bit of money. Otherwise, only with books, it's very, very difficult to sustain in a bigger space, because you have to pay a rent, you have to spend the equal amount of money which is required to run any other business, and you are up against Mercedes. You need a space in a market space where a very high-end market space where there's Mercedes. This person is going to pay more. So how do you do it? You have to create a module where you can actually do a small amount of sales of so many other things every day. And not only in a high-end market space, but in your garage, from your home also. Lot of people can do it in their garden also. If you can just put a small book rack and maybe start selling 200 titles. Not only looking at big numbers, multiple stores. We have to look at small numbers, different spaces and different places also. Look differently and also feel differently. And without these spaces, you will end up with cities like some alien looking space where you have all the other things but no space for literature. It's not going to be a very nice feeling. And all the young people who were there, thousands in the ground floor, you have to turn 10% or 2% or 3% of them into printers, booksellers, publishers. You need very good manpower, and that is where we struggle in our country. I'm not sure about Malaysia though, but I still feel it is very required, because I just spoke to someone, and this girl, she was at one of the stalls, but she didn't know whether it was a monthly magazine or a yearly magazine or a magazine or a book. That means she did not get that training of basics. So this is all I wanted to say. This is what we do, and this is very essential for everybody, for all the societies, because Malaysia is not Kuala Lumpur only. I'm damn sure once you move from Kuala Lumpur and go to 2-tier, 3-tier, smaller towns, smaller villages, I don't think there are bookshops. And if I'm incorrect, you have to correct me. But this is what I recently found in Vietnam, in Cambodia, in Myanmar, even Sharjah. Sharjah has maybe, but not in smaller towns. And maybe it's the same in so many other spaces. And that is all I wanted to say. And I really wanted to have a conversation and talk to all of us and ask whether you want to do something with books, or is it possible to actually, collaborate and do bookstores around, or share our knowledge, or do these courses online and teach people in India from Kuala Lumpur and from India to Kuala Lumpur, because these kind of events, should be live telecast for others, so that people can actually replicate these things in their hometown. And that is all. And if you need to know anything about what we are trying to do, for instance, the publishing thing that we do, it's very small, but we have published a book last year which is only for bookstores. The book at the back clearly says not to be sold on Amazon, only for bookshops. And it was clearly designed to support bookshops and only for bookshops, because physical bookshops are very different than online bookstores. Online bookstores are stopping you to have a look at literature. They are giving you a discount, but you cannot look at books anymore. And as a society, I cannot even understand why we have to stop people from looking at books. So that is all. Anything else if you guys want to ask, then I'm here, and I'll be very happy to